What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Warehouse Series. So today we're going to be talking about those corners of those pallets. I have touched on this topic in the past, and I'm probably going to be touching on this in the future too, because as far as I'm concerned, if you don't have strong corners on your pallet, then you're building crappy pallets. People build from front to back, back to front. They do not build from corners in. And the corners, building those nice strong corners first is what's going to keep you that square pallet. And we're going to look at some pictures today that are definitely not square and definitely not looking good. Before we get to that, if you guys can subscribe to the channel, thumbs up, Discord, that link is in the description below. We have like close to 140 people over there helping each other out all across the world. It's pretty cool. You know, we got people from Australia, Ireland, Canada. It's pretty neat, guys. We're starting to get a little bit bigger every day, and it's interesting to see, you know, that pretty much all warehouses are the same across the globe. So today, let's talk about those corners. The first picture I'm going to talk about right here, it's actually not a bad looking pallet, but as you can see, that bottom corner case is hanging off like 4 inches. You know, it's not like it's hanging off a couple inches. And these jacks, they do not ride smoothly. They jump around. So more than likely, this case is going to walk itself right off the pallet. They did the right thing by putting the second case up a little bit in the off center that, but that case is off way too much. If it was off like a ½ an inch, I would say it's probably going to make it. But even if they would stop and wrap this, the loader putting this on is not going to see that, and they might crush it. So there might be some broken liquid on the truck when they go to load this. So that's the first picture I want to look at. The second picture I want to look at is this one right here. And before I get to the second pic, you know, I always say if it don't fit, don't force it. So when you got a gap like this and you got a case that's going to line up with your other cases, but you know, it's bigger, and you sit there and jam it in there, it doesn't need to go there. Just find another spot for that case. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. So with this one here, I got an arrow pointing to where they had, I watched this person do this. So they had the whole, so I guess they were saving the back of this pallet for what you see back there, paper towels and stuff. I guess they had the idea that I'm just going to stack my paper towels and everything straight up the back. And where the arrow was, that's how high the inside was before they had the whole back open board. No, you don't want to build like this, guys. Layer by layer, corners in, strong corners. And if you build layer by layer with strong corners, you're going to have no problem stacking paper towels and cereal on top of your stuff whenever you get there. People overcomplicate this part of the warehouse at our job, where I work at, because you could have either bags or small cases coming into the paper towels and cereal. They overcomplicate what they're doing. They just think of that paper towels. Guys, when you have a lot of cases, keep going layer by layer, and use slip sheets if you need to, and then go to the paper towels and stop and wrap. And that's another thing I want to mention. Guys, when you stop and wrap in the aisles, I noticed new selectors. I've mentioned this on previous videos, and I'm going to mention this on my video. I'm going to be putting out a video about new selectors, one of their biggest problems with new selectors. And one of them is you wrap your pallet too much. All right, not only are you wasting time, but you're holding people up in the aisle. Okay, if you have to stop and wrap in the aisle, it should be a couple times around just to hold your pallet together to get up to the wrap station. If you do not have wrap stations and you're hand wrapping your entire pallet, go to a part of the warehouse where you are not going to be holding people up. But if you have wrap stations and you have to take your product up to the wrap station a couple times around, get it up there and then finish wrapping it up there. People at our warehouse, we have wrap stations, and people at our warehouse, they like mummify their pallets in the aisles. They wrap it like 30 times. I don't get it. Like, you know, couple times and keep moving. You're holding people up in the aisle and you're wasting time, honestly. All right, in this picture right here, you know, just like I told you on that other picture where the case was hanging off the back of the pallet like 4 inches, well, this one's just hanging over just a hair, but it's the front pallet hanging over onto the back pallet. And why is this a problem? Because you could have a habit, once you get weight on there, which they do have weight on that corner, it's on that back pallet. So when you go to separate your product, you have a chance of that product hanging on to the back pallet. And when you separate it, there's a good chance that this pallet's going to fall if it's not wrapped. Or even if you stop to separate your stuff in the aisle and you wrap it. The top arrow is actually pointing to the small baby food up there. And it's just, come on. You got a big case in the middle, small case on the outside. Switch those cases around. And I don't know what's going on in the middle of this picture. They installed a picture window. Very nice, you know, it looks pretty good. But I don't know, guys. This pallet here is very shaky, and the other side was not good either, but I just couldn't get a picture of the other side. Like I said, I do this stuff very discreetly. I even, the black mark, I blocked out their hand. I don't want people knowing I'm taking pictures of their pallets. And as long as they're not in the picture, it shouldn't be a problem. All right, and on this one right here. All right, let's start over on this side. I was just looking to see where we're gonna start with this. Low corner, all right? High corners, low inside. You never want a low corner and a high inside. If you do get a low corner like this and a high inside, the last thing you wanna do is tie it in. And I see that all the time. The worst thing you could do is tie in a low corner with a high inside. You should be working on trying to make that low corner higher than the inside and then tie it in. I hope that makes sense. But you never, although their bags ended up coming out a little bit level, then it's because it was a bag. Now, I've seen boxes with like this, you know, just, and then I don't know what's going on the other side. This could have been as easy as moving those buckets. This is what I'm talking about. So they started off with the brown box in the corner, and they started building across instead of buckets in the corner and then stacking boxes in the middle. Guys, corners in. This is a perfect example of starting on this side of the pallet and just building straight across and not worrying about your corner. And then they just said, screw it, I'm not even gonna have a corner. So, I don't know. And then we got the paper towel on its side. That could get to the last thing I talked about. Then we got bags hanging off over here. Probably a good like 7 inches. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. That goes for in between cases, and that goes for the outside of your pallet. If you're hanging off your pallet, you're forcing it there. It doesn't need to be there. It's easy as maybe turning these 2 bags sideways and just having them go back like they were. Pop-Tarts up front there, for my, you know, I don't care about putting them on their sides. They got a nice solid box, you could do that, but man, there's a lot going on here. All right, let's get to the next picture. This one right here, once again, guys, that long case is the reason why these waters are dipping in right here. And when you have weight dipping into a gap, it's never a good thing. Now, if these were lighter boxes, you're probably not gonna have a problem with it. But yeah, having these waters dip into that gap is gonna give this pallet a problem. All these cases go in this way, and this part of the pallet is just, it's not good. Yeah, so if they would have turned these cases facing inwards, you could have fit 2 columns coming up and you would have been able to stack these a lot better. I hope I'm making sense with this, guys. Stop stacking like this in this part of the pallet. All right, another one, guys. What are we doing here? We're building from the front to the back, and we got cases in this part of the pallet going like that. That shouldn't be there. They should be facing towards the middle. Honestly, my bottom arrow where I'm showing you where they stack like that, why is that not in the back corner? I have no idea. But this is what happens whenever you stack from the front of the pallet to the back and not worry about your corners. I could go on forever with this. This is just like the ones I just said. I could put 16 videos out about cases on their sides. I could put 20 videos out about people stacking like this where they forget about their corners. Everything is going this way, this way, this way, this way. We need to start facing towards the middle of the pallet. I showed this a long time ago, and guys, it is the center. I talk about the T and the cross. That is the strongest point of your pallet. That center, right down the middle of the board, is where you want your cases pointing. You do not want your cases running the width of the pallet. You want it running towards the middle of the pallet. We need to stop this. And we're gonna finish off with this one right here. What do you see? A case running this way again. Guys, when you do this, you are forcing yourself to put small cases on the corners. That's right, that little green thing is showing you. Not only is that, but that is hanging off a little bit on the back because you're trying to force cases onto the corner. It's as simple as taking that big box and sliding it right to the back corner and having a strong corner. Quit stacking like this in the middle of the pallet. Oh, it drives me nuts. Guys, that's it. All right, guys, so that's it. The only good picture I showed you at these last 2 videos was that tall pallet that I showed you on the first video, on that last video I put out. But oh my, I could do this all day long. I could do it all day long. Is it a training issue? Or is it not? I don't know. But we need to stop. I hope people stumble onto my channel and they start watching. And if you are not understanding what I am talking about in this video, leave comments below. I get back to everyone's comment as long as it's reasonable and it's understandable. So yeah, guys, that's it for today. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.